Hey everyone, it's Eric, owner of 4 Point Farms, and today we'll be doing something inside the house. Got a leaky toilet here. Yeah, you can kind of hear it running, hopefully. If not, I'll show you closer up here in a second. But the fill valve, there's a malfunction in the fill valve mechanism. And although there are some models that have rebuild kits available, this one you just replace the whole valve. And it's not a bad job, and the part doesn't cost more than $20, depending on where you pick it up. So let's cut right to it. You'll only need a few tools to do this job. And really, I'll probably only need one, but because it's kind of a tight fit in here, I didn't know which one of these two would work better, so I grabbed it. But just a pair of pliers will get this job done in most cases. Sometimes if you have a steel braided line going to the toilet, you might need to have a 5/8 or 1/2 inch line wrench or just a regular wrench to get it off. But in 99% of the cases, just a pair of pliers is all you're going to need. Let me get the camera off the tripod for a minute. I'll take the lid off of this, show you what's going on, show you why I can't fix it with just taking it apart, and then we will replace this thing. Now here's a picture of the valve, and here's a picture of all the components that come with it. This will not be using all those components. I'm going to take these two away right here. So this is all the parts you're going to need to do this job on this particular model. They include those extra pieces because depending on what line it is that comes up to your toilet, you may need those extra tools. Hopefully you can hear that running. It's just a slight water leak that's going on here. And I'll open the tank up and you'll see why that's happening. Okay, so now I'm really hoping you can hear that sound, but that's the sound of it leaking just ever so slightly. And if we look down into the bowl here, we can see what's going on. That brown stuff at the bottom, that is sand or dirt, and that's coming up because I have a spring box. Now, if you have a spring box or a spring-fed water supply for your house or a well water supply for your house, this is definitely a possibility. This is something you're going to run across. Obviously, a filtered city water system is not going to have that kind of sediment pumping through it, or at least it shouldn't. But when you have a well, you get a heavy rainfall, it's going to kick up dirt and sediment, and that does get sent through the plumbing and into your house. In this case, my spring box, we had an extended power outage. When that happens, the water back drains into the system, and then when you kick it back on, it tends to stir it up, and that's what happened. And a little bit of it got caught in this fill valve here, and that's this component here that we're going to be replacing. So even though the bubble goes all the way up, there's sand or dirt trapped in here, and it's not allowing that valve to shut all the way off. Now, unfortunately, that valve's not rebuildable in tank. You have to take it off, and you can take it apart. Sometimes you can get it apart without breaking all the little plastic pieces. Other times, not so much. So I went ahead and ordered a replacement, and that's it. We're going to do this thing. To get this job done is turn off our fill valve. So here it is. Here's your water cutoff. Turn that off. As you can hear, the sound went away. And now we're just going to flush our toilet. And you may need to do what I'm going to do, which is hold it down, let it drain as much as you can. Now these things have water savers in them, so we'll have to get a cup or something, a small cup, and drain as much of that water out, because anything that's in there is going to end up on the ground below the tank. So give me a minute. I'm going to get a small cup, and I'm going to just spoon this stuff out of here until I get it as low as I can. Just taking a cup here and going to get as much out of here as I can. Get that water level down as low as you want. If you really don't want to have any water pouring out onto the floor when you're done with this, you can even use like a little turkey baster and get it right down to where there's hardly anything left in here. So that's pretty much the next step. Alright, so as you can see, I've got about 99% of the water mopped up in here. Now you could stick a towel down in there and try to mop up a little bit more here and there, but really the next step, you're going to put a towel down underneath the toilet, and that should catch anything that's left in here. And of course, after you're done, you'll be doing a little bit of cleanup, but really it shouldn't be too bad. So let's go ahead and get the camera repositioned. I'll stuff it up underneath this toilet, and I'll show you just how simple it is to replace this thing. All right, as you can see, I've got a towel kind of wrapped around the incoming line here, and I'll go ahead and aim it upward now to show you the bottom of the toilet. And there it is. There's the first screw you're going to take, and this one even has little hand tabs on there, so I'm hoping I won't even have to use a pair of pliers. But we'll go ahead and remove that, and again, a little bit more water may pour out because there's water in the pipe, but as long as that valve is turned off, everything should be okay. Just hand tight, which is really nice. There's a little bit of water pouring out, but that's okay. That's the water that's in this line here. Once that's loose, just move that off to the side there, and that exposes the bottom. That exposes the bottom of our tank right there. Okay, the next step on our journey is to remove this larger cap here. And this is the one that most likely you're going to need to use your pair of pliers on. So I'll go ahead and try to do this one-handed. Might have to loosen it some. No, okay. I think I can do this one-handed. Yeah. This is not a lot to this, is there? You pay a plumber to come out here, he's probably going to charge you 80 bucks just to roll in the house. And he's probably going to charge you 60 bucks for the rebuild kit that you can buy at Lowe's or Home Depot or Ace Hardware or wherever online for probably less than $20. That's it. We're going to take that cap off there and set it aside. Now we'll go back up to the top of the tank here and lift this entire assembly out. And again, a little bit more water may pour out, so keep that towel down. All right, here we are back up top. You're just going to want to pull up on that. There's a little spring. The spring can either stay or you can take it out. I'm just going to leave that in there. And then that's it. And not much to it, is there? I'm going to pull that out of there. We'll let that drain a little bit. I'll go ahead and set that aside into the sink. Not much to it, is there? Not much to it. All right, let's grab our new stuff and we'll begin reassembly. Okay, so here is the old one and the new one sitting side by side. Minor differences, nothing big, probably just production changes. So anything you see here can be done after the fact. There is an adjustment here that's going to adjust how much water goes in before the fill valve stops. We'll make those adjustments after it's back in there. A lot of times they don't even need to be adjusted. Now, even though this kit came with a new hose, I'm just going to go ahead and transfer this small fill hose over to here because it's already angled right, it's already cut right. No need to replace that. What I will need to do, and it comes in the new kit, is install this new gasket onto right here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll slide this thing into place. Okay, so we've pushed that back down on there. I've gone ahead and reattached my hose and put her back on that little clamp. I've got my brand new plastic nut. We're going to go back underneath and tighten everything back up. Alright, so it's just a matter of reinstalling this. And I'm doing this one-handed, so now that I've got that finger tight, pretty well finger tight, I'm going to go ahead with my pliers and give it another turn or two. Not a full turn, just a quarter of a turn, just to snug it down. You want this snug, but just to snug that rubber gasket up. So maybe that was 3/4 of a turn, nothing crazy. And then if you're going to adjust the or replace it, there, depending on the model, some of these have a rubber gasket here, some of them don't. This one doesn't, so it should be okay. We'll go ahead and reinstall that. And again, that was just hand tight. But you're going to recheck all this stuff when you're done, just to be sure nothing's leaking. I'll go ahead and give it a little bit of a snug down there. There we go. All right. That's pretty much it. We're going to go up top, make final adjustments, and we'll turn the water on, inspect for leaks, and this job's done. Alright, well here we are back up top. I've got this thing situated pretty much where I want it to be situated. I've reattached my hose into the fill area. We're ready to turn this thing back on and see what happens. So let's do it. So far so good. Okay, it has filled to where it has shut off, and as you can see, it's about 1.5 inches, maybe even 2 inches from where the previous line was, and that's because it needs its final adjustments. These valves fit a variety of models. There's a height adjustment for this part, and the bowl here, the float valve, it has an adjustment as well. Because this has the water saver function, we have to bypass its original setting. I'm going to turn that screw here. It is going to take both hands, so let me put it down. As I turn the screw, the water will turn back on. I'll bring it up to a more acceptable level, and then we'll be ready for final leak checks and the first flush. Okay, I've made my adjustment, and it's continuing to fill. I'll fast forward through the filling process. One nice thing to remember here is, although this water looks a little nasty, this is actually the clean part of the toilet. Be happy that there's not a problem going on with the wax O-ring around the bottom or whatnot. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with the overall height there. I might bring it up just a smidge more, but I'll do that off camera. It's time to crawl back under this thing one more time and check for leaks. Now, what you need to do for that is just go ahead and mop up all the moisture that you've created. Get it all off the hose and the line and the valve and everything underneath that may have gotten water on it from this project. And then you just sit there and watch for a little while and make sure nothing's dripping. And it's a good idea to let it sit like this for a good 10 minutes and then come back and check again. Wipe the area down with your hands and see if there's any moisture anywhere that there wasn't beforehand. If not, you're good to go, and it'll be time for the first flush. So I'm just touching around all here. It's been about 10 minutes now. Everything feels dry. Everything's looking good. So I'm going to call this a success. Any areas that would be leaking would be right around this area here or right around this area here. Both of them appear to be okay, so that's a good sign. Guess it's time to give this toilet a flush to see how everything works out. Sounds good. Well, I hope this video was of some help to you. If you have a toilet that's leaky and or not working properly, you now see how easy it is to fix it yourself, and you can save a bunch of money doing it. I am Eric, owner of Farpoint Farms. Hope you enjoyed the video. If so, maybe you'll consider liking and subscribing. And I'll see you next time. Take care.